Question number 2, the Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by all of his government statements and actions?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes. Supplementary. Why does he claim to have the cost of living under control when administered inflation, the component of inflation government can most directly influence, hit 10.8% last month, the steepest rise in at least 35 years?
Well, I'm very proud of this government's focus on reducing inflation. This is a government that has put inflation back under 3% again. There are items like rates running at 12.5%. That's why we support a rates cap. Encourage that member to support it too.
Supplementary question. Does he accept that the government's decision to increase transmission charges is driving up power bills? Its decision to increase natural disaster levies is driving up insurance premiums. Its decision to hike civil aviation levies is driving up the price of airfares. And then increased government charges are now one of the biggest contributors to the cost of living pressure that Kiwi families are facing.
In light of the first part of that question, I'd say to the member the energy prices are a function of his administration's banning of oil and gas and the fact that we do not have a supply of gas in this country, which has led to elevated electricity prices. Again, I'd say to that member, think about the position and support reversing the oil and gas ban.
Supplementary question. Did his government's decision to cut funding for public transport, forcing some commuters and families to pay up to 50% more just to get to work or school, increase or decrease the cost of living pressure that Kiwi families currently face?
Well, I can say to the member what is helping those families deal with the cost of living is our expanded role for Family Boost. What is helping those families support them in a cost of living crisis is the tax relief that we've offered them. What is supporting them is actually rental stability. That is a good thing, making sure. And we're also making sure that we give people tax, inflation and interest rate relief, which is what this government is delivering.
Speaking of Family Boost, has he found one single family that has received the full $250 a fortnight that he promised Kiwi families with kids during the last election campaign?
Well, look, I want to thank the member for his question because I really do appreciate answering this and bringing attention to the fact to all New Zealanders who may be watching this, that Family Boost rebates have been expanded, the thresholds have been extended, and as a result there is even more money. And actually for the last 13 weeks, you can now access and get more support from this government, which is absolutely fantastic. We think actually another 22,000 families will receive some support, and isn't that a great thing?
No one's getting all of it. Supplementary.
Can the Prime Minister confirm that this government is carefully managing its own finances so that New Zealanders face a lower rate of inflation and falling interest rates as a result?
I can, and what I can confirm is that this is a government that won't be looking to increase prices for New Zealanders by increasing the inflation band target as that member proposes.
Did his government's decision to increase car registration fees by $50 increase or decrease the cost of living pressure that Kiwi families are currently facing?
Well, again, I'll just say to the member, we are proud of the fact that we have lowered inflation. In this government, yes, we have food inflation running at 5%, but that's a lot lower than 12.5% under his government. 2.7% inflation is lower than 7.5% under his government. Interest rates have been cut multiple times. Rents are stable. This is a government that is focused on economic growth. Why? So that we can get New Zealanders getting more money in their back pocket, and that's how they get ahead.
Supplementary question.
The Honourable Nicola Willis.
Can the Prime Minister confirm that one of the first actions of his government was to stop the petrol tax increases which had been scheduled by the last government?
Okay, that's an out of order question. Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Supplementary question. Mr Speaker, if his government has inflation under control, as he is now claiming, why is the price of food continuing to increase? With butter, statistics released today showing butter's up 32%, milk's up almost $1, and the price of mince is now $22 a kilo, all under his leadership.
Well, I'll just remind the member that when he was Prime Minister, food inflation hit 12.5%. It is 5% today. Yes, we have elevated prices for red meat and for dairy products. That's due to global commodity prices. That's why our farmers are having record years and record levels of farmer confidence in this country. But this is a government that is focused on lowering inflation. And I just say to the member, that's why you've seen us actually fast-track supermarket entrance so that we can actually do everything we can to make it as easy as possible to open up the supermarket sector. But again, the answer is not to increase the inflation target and increase prices for Kiwis, as his finance spokesperson suggested.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Nicola Willis.
Has the government increased petrol taxes since being elected?
No.
Supplementary question. Does the government plan to increase petrol taxes by 12 cents a litre?
The government has had no discussions about increasing fuel taxes at this time, but what we are very focused on is lowering inflation, making sure we lower interest rates, we get our economy growing, and we lower unemployment.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Given that the documents the government has tabled in this House indicate that they are intending to increase petrol taxes by 12 cents a litre, will the Prime Minister be required to correct that answer?
If the Prime Minister chooses to correct an answer, then that's his prerogative to do so. If you knew the answer, why ask the question? But anyway, the Right Honourable, the Honourable Shane Jones.
Question to the Prime Minister. Is he proposing to introduce a wealth tax, a capital gains tax, and has he taken any advice as to what impact that might have on the economy?
Well, I don't think taxing more, borrowing more, spending more is the way that we move this economy forward. I think that's what's put us in the almighty mess that we've actually seen. A capital gains tax, a wealth tax, an inheritance tax, a death tax. God knows what's being proposed. I just know that's not the answer.